Hi, and welcome to Horse of the West. I'm Jennifer Reynolds, and we're coming to you this week from State Fair Park in Oklahoma City. It's the American Quarter Horse Association World Championship Show. In the spotlight tonight, senior reining. 15 horses will vie for the title of AQHA World Champion, but they're also prepping for the biggest event in the horse world coming up in the fall of 2018.
Because our goal is to qualify for the FEI World Equestrian Games for Italy.
I want to try and get on Canadian team. I've been two-time WEG Canadian team member.
I'm going to try to compete for Brazil in it.
I would be representing Israel.
The race for a world title and a place at the World Games just ahead. Plus, we'll get a look at plans for the new Colosseum at historic State Fair Park in Oklahoma City, the horse show capital of the world.
We're looking for an enhanced experience from this new facility, and I know they'll deliver.
Coming up on Your Horse Inside and Out, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim, we're going to talk about preparation of mares prior to breeding or treatment.
That's all coming up on Horse of the West.
The Western horse was a master of a hard world, pitted for centuries against half-wild bovines. Ferocious predators, brutal weather, and the sheer size of the country they had to cover. Their descendants are still nimble, fast, and courageous, with a rock-solid disposition that makes them beloved the world over. In this next half hour, you'll see them in action here on Horse of the West.
The FEI World Equestrian Games come every 4 years opposite of the Olympics and gather riders in 8 disciplines who compete for their countries as both teams and individuals. Reining became the only Western discipline included in the World Games in 2002 and brought with it a boisterous and passionate fan base.
It's exciting, and the crowd is awesome there, and I think people can see how exciting reining is. You know, it's a great spectator sport, and it's obviously the greatest Western event, I think, as far as just for being an event that a lot of people can do and compete at, and also it's just incredible horses, seeing a great horses perform at a really high level.
In September of 2018, the Games come back to America. They'll be held at North Carolina's new 1,400-acre, $100 million Tryon Equestrian Center. This year's AQHA Senior Reining Preliminaries are serving as one of the qualifiers for WEG, and the majority of the riders in this championship final are hoping to make their country's teams. Miriam Stilo is an Italian based in Texas who'd like to be in Tryon representing her home country on Shannon and Herschel Reed stallion Rough Spook by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $4 million sire Smart Spook.
I just love him. He's just so sweet, and he gets better and better, and we are becoming a team every time. We're trying to run a little harder every time, try to build it up to the final goal.
Miriam has done 3-day eventing, rein cow horse, and several other events, but has found her permanent home in reining with the American Quarter Horses.
And that's what pushed me more to the Western events in general, and the all-around first, and then the cow horse, and then the reining. And so I kind of did it, not all, but a lot. So I love reining. That gives me the adrenaline.
A 2:19.5 for Miriam Stilo and Rough Spook to get us started. Lisa Coulter is another international rider headquartered in Texas. She's a Canadian based in Pilot Point. Lisa's hoping to make Team Canada for a 3rd time and hoping this time around it'll be on Bob Thompson's Smart Tinseltown, another son of Smart Spook, one she knew from her experience would be perfect for the World Equestrian Games.
I like, obviously a really sound horse, and a horse that still loves his job.
The 8-year-old gelding won the 2017 Clayton Woosley Derby with a score of 227, so he's got a lot of potential. Here in Oklahoma City, he marks a 217.5. Jordan Larson of Whitesboro, Texas, is up next on a horse he rode to an NRHA Futurity Co-Championship in 2014. Ark Gonna Be a Big Star is the aptly named son of NRHA $1 million sire Gunna Trasha out of the greatest reining performance mare of all time, Hall of Fame member Wimpy's Little Chick. Jordan and Big Star, owned by HDC Quarter Horses, were NRHA Derby Reserve champions just a few months back.
This horse has improved tremendously over the years, and in fact, the show before this was the highest score he's ever scored, and he was fantastic.
Jordan says for the first time, 9-year-old Big Star anticipated his stops and got a little ahead of him in the rundowns, but was otherwise very good. They earn a 220 from the judges to take the lead. Jordan was a member of Team USA in 2014 and is hoping to make the team again this year.
There's nothing like representing your country and being on a team the team aspect, you know, I was fortunate enough to be on a great team in 2014 with some great people and great horses, and it was an awesome experience.
Susan Geiger's Winder-Up Wimp is up next with Emily Emerson of Elbert, Colorado in the saddle.
He's great-minded. He's always there for you. You know, he's just physical. He's just fun. He's all around good guy.
9-year-old Winder-Up Wimp has been a Team USA horse previously under Shane Brown at the 2017 FEI World Reining Championships. Emily's trying to earn her own spot on Team USA, which she sees as another rung on the ladder.
I've always dreamed of playing this game, and the higher the level, the more I want to do it. And just something different, and I just love everything about this sport. So,
Shauna Larkham has 2 horses qualified in the Senior Reining Championship final. Here's the first, 6-year-old Designed with Shine, sired by Smart and Shiny, out of NRHA Futurity Champion Tari's designer genes. Shauna's been to the World Games twice, in 2010 and 2014, and she would like to make it 3 times in a row.
Sort of slowly working towards qualifying this year, and we have to do another one next year, and yeah, hopefully that'll come to fruition.
People can probably guess from your accent that you would be competing for Australia.
Yeah, they'd be right.
Shauna says what she loves about WAG is the team aspect, especially since it has included her brother, NRHA professional Martin Larkham.
And it's just so much fun and such a good camaraderie, and yeah, I think that's the most important thing as much as anything. It's just being part of that team.
Shauna and Designed with Shine mark a 2:18.5 here at the World Show to move into 3rd. Martin Muhlstetter of Scottsdale, Arizona is an Austrian with a pair of horses qualified for this AQHA Senior Reining World Championship final. The first is Got a Gold Chain, owned by Stephanie Diane Nelson and sired by NRHA $3 million sire Jack's Electric Spark out of the big-time producer Snippo Checks. This 9-year-old stallion has been a consistent finals qualifier in Europe and the U.S. Martin's a former NRBC champion and a 2014 WEG team bronze medalist for his home country of Austria. A 2:18.5 is the score from the judges. Martin Muhlstetter and Got a Gold Chain move into a tie for 3rd with Shauna Larkham and Designed with Shine. But still to come, the NRHA's all-time leading rider, Sean Flaherty, multiple AQHA world champion Casey Hinton, and Chago Boisha, 2-time AQHA Reserve World Champion, riding 3-time AQHA Finals qualifier Wimpy's Little Knight, both looking for their first AQHA championship. We'll crown a champion when we return with our coverage of the Lucas Oil American Quarter Horse Association World Show from Oklahoma City, the horse show capital of the world. Don't ride off.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West in Oklahoma City for the Lucas Oil American Quarter Horse Association World Championship Show, where more than 1,500 riders and nearly 2,000 horses are vying for some 200 world championships. Right now, the world title on the line is Senior Reining for horses ages 6 and older. Riders are also trying to qualify for the World Equestrian Games coming up later this year in North Carolina. Multiple AQHA world champion Jordan Larson and ARC Gonna Be a Big Star are sitting first right now with a 2:20. Miriam Steelo's in second on Rough Spook with a 2:19.5. And in third, it's Shauna Larkham and Designed with Shine at 2:18.5. Casey Hinton of Whitesboro, Texas has been here many times and ridden away with the AQHA's distinctive Gold Globe trophy, and he intended to make a try for the World Games as well this year, but the horse he had planned to ride turns out to be a year too young because of a recent rule change requiring WAG horses to be at least 7. Casey's riding Custom Banjo, a gelding that generally earns his keep in the non-pro classes under owner Stephanie Diane Nelson. Casey competes on the 10-year-old now and again just to keep him sharp.
We make him know that his maneuvers have to stay at a plus half, stay on top of that. So 2 or 3 times during the year, I target making sure that happens so that he stays the same for her.
And that's exactly where Casey and Custom Banjo end up in this World Show Championship final with a 2:19, which is going to move them into sole possession of 3rd place. Jonathan Baruch is an Israeli who trains in Marietta, Oklahoma. He's also qualifying to represent his nation in the World Games.
I think it would mean everything in the world to me.
Jonathan is riding Spooks Smokin' Wimpy by NRHA Hall of Fame member and $9 million sire Wimpy's Little Step. The 9-year-old is owned by Margaret Valentine and is normally a youth horse. Jonathan says he's only shown this gelding himself about 3 times to get qualified for WAG.
I didn't know what's going to happen going in. You know, it's kind of a leap of faith, but that's showing horses. You know, you just got to trust what you do, and then you need to see what happens on the other side. And today, I mean, he did everything perfect.
Holier Than Thou is the name of our next horse. He's a gelding by Jack's Electric Spark, owned by Nicole McDevitt. This 8-year-old gelding is ridden by Eric Laporte of Alberta, California. He's a native Frenchman who would like to make Team France.
They changed the rule, and now we can start to be able to qualify. So that's why we got Moses. That's the barn name for Holier Than Thou. That's why we got Moses, and that's what we're going to try to do.
Fortunately for Eric and Holier Than Thou, the owner, Nicole McDevitt, is French and all in on trying to make Team France. NRHA Hall of Fame member Sean Flarida of Springfield, Ohio, is a former champion of this event. He's riding Alberto Casasco's Murata's Shining, 2014 Tulsa Reining Classic Open champion under Eduardo Salgado. Sean and Murata's Shining earn a 219 from the judges, which will slide them into a tie for third with Casey Hinton and Custom Banjo. Shauna Larkham's back now with her second horse, Setting Off Smart by Smart Spook out of Setting Off Sparks, FEI World Masters champion. Shauna says this horse got a late start competing due to an injury her 3-year-old season.
Yeah, she's coming along. Yeah, and she's another one in the broodmare band. Like, she's got some babies on the ground already, and we've got some more coming next year, so that'll be exciting as well.
Still ahead, the conclusion of the AQHA Senior Reining World Championships from Oklahoma City, and a sneak peek at plans for a new Colosseum at historic State Fair Park in Oklahoma City, horse show capital of the world.
Now, your horse inside and out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim.
Every year, it's the circle of life. Mares are bred, they're foaled the next year, and then it's time generally to do post-foaling treatments, post-breeding treatments, or preparing a mare for breeding, or what's also called a Kaslik procedure. We're going to start today with how I like to prepare a mare, clean her and get her ready for a treatment or a vaginal or uterine inspection, and that begins by putting a nice tail wrap. You want to be sure and get all these little hairs at the top of the tail head so they're not going to be in your way. In a previous life, I bred thousands and thousands and thousands of mares. I'm a little old school, but I like to do it the way I like to do it. But we've got this mare with a tail wrap. The hairs are all out of the way. Then we take a little bungee cord and wrap it around like that, and that's going to hold the tail and keep it to where it's going to be out of our way and allow us to function. The next thing we're going to do is clean the mare, prepare vaginal and vulvar area for examination. I like to use plain old-fashioned betadine, a dilute betadine solution. It needs to have kind of the color of just a very light tea color. We'll put a little bit more in there. Darken it up just a hair. And then my favorite soap is plain old-fashioned ivory soap, very mild. See, we're not trying to sterilize this area, we're just trying to get it really good and clean where there's no fecal material that's going to contaminate her uterus when we go in with a treatment or a breeding. Preparing a mare for breeding or treatment is something that's very important. Consult with your veterinarian with any specific questions you might have, and I'm Dr. Joe Carter with your horse inside and out.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter is sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim. Learn about their joint health portfolio at healthyhorses.com. You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West. The legendary Norick Arena at State Fair Park in Oklahoma City has seen thousands of equestrian champions crowned in the 5 decades since it was built. It's been the home of the National Reining Horse Association Futurity since 1986.
Great history there. But fact is, we're all spoiled, and we're used to an NBA type experience now where you have great sight lines, you have great lighting, you have great food amenities, and that's what our consumer is demanding.
So plans are in the work for a new Colosseum, which will be built adjacent to the Norick Arena to avoid disrupting the 200 event days a year the current Colosseum is in use.
We'll be using the Norick right up until the new arena is finished, and then there'll be a transition period there, and we'll keep going forward.
With help from the equine associations that use the Colosseum, officials at State Fair Park have developed several key mandates for the new facility.
It still needs to connect to our stalling facility, which is today, as far as we know, we are the largest contiguous stalling facility in North America and maybe in the world. And so we certainly want to create that and preserve that for the convenience of the shows, so that the ability to create a large connector with a warm-up area into the new arena.
They want easier movement of livestock.
We're also looking at a cattle return area, so some areas where we can move cattle and horses for some shows through a tunnel underneath the stands, and obviously the back of the house areas that we'll be able to design based upon almost 40 years of history of operating all these various types of events will greatly improve the function and the operational things of the shows. Things the public won't see, won't really notice, but the people that put on the shows and the promoters, and they will appreciate those improvements.
Plus, a concourse that is not separated from the competition arena.
Within the arena itself, the open concourse is an essential concept. It allows the consumer to see what's going on the floor at all times when they get up and walk around the building, whether they're buying concessions, going to the restrooms, going to talk to somebody in another area, or just want to stand up and walk around. It's a extended concept of how the Bricktown Ballpark was designed when it opened. It's a very open concourse that you can move throughout it and see what's going on the field of play all the time.
It's huge because they don't have to lose contact with the event if they, run get a hot dog, or if they want to go look at something in the trade show. They're going to be right there, and they're going to be able to see what's going on.
It also allows us the opportunity to try and maximize the seating in the lower bowl, so we can create a more intimate atmosphere for smaller crowds. And then we'll have the capacity with a second level with retractable seating to increase the capacity if it's necessary for the event.
And better options for hospitality.
And no longer is it an accessory, it's a requirement. And so with the skyboxes and all the things they'll be doing with that new facility, that will help that a ton.
Funding options are still on the table and design plans are not yet final, but everybody agrees the new Colosseum is a necessity for Oklahoma City.
Many people set out with this vision 40-some years ago to create not only a year-round tourism destination at the fairgrounds, but in particular to make Oklahoma City the horse show capital of the world. And they had a great vision and a great idea, and it's our job to maintain it and keep it going forward.
Coming up, the conclusion of the AQHA Senior Reining World Championship Final when Horse of the West returns.
You're watching Horse of the West on RFD TV, presented by the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back to Horse of the West, the big finish of the American Quarter Horse Association Senior Reining World Championship Final from Oklahoma City. The score to beat is a 220 from Jordan Larson and Arc Gonna Be a Big Star. Italian Miriam Stilo is in second on Rough Spook with a 219.5. Casey Hinton is sitting in the bronze position with a 219 even. Now here's a horse that's been to the World Show 3 times but not taken home the title. Wimpy's Little Night by Wimpy's Little Step out of NRHA non-pro futurity champion Done It by Chick. Chago Boy Shaw, a Brazilian based in Purcell, Oklahoma, is the rider for owner Courtney Battison, who also rides this horse in amateur classes.
Special thanks to her to let me show him for the last 3 years at the World Show, and made every time I made the finals on him. He's so fun to show, and I'm glad since I messed up in those majors, derbies and stuff, I still had the chance to come back and show him.
Chago has a special determination to put a title on this horse he feels is so deserving, and they laid down a really pretty set of maneuvers, earning a 2:21 from the judges to take the lead.
This run that I had today was probably the best one I had out of these 3 World Show that I showed him, so he just got better.
We'll finish up now with Patrick Flaherty of Scottsdale, Arizona on Whiz Boom Wrangle by Wrangle Whiz, an 8-year-old stallion owned by Vicky Santos.
She let me show him in some of the aged events as a young horse, as a 4-year-old, and then mostly she's shown him since then. Every now and then she just lets me kind of have, if there's something fun to do on him, she lets me have him, but generally speaking, he's her weekend show horse. She shows him in the non-pro and the whatever else at all the weekend horse shows and just has fun with him.
Whiz Boom Wrangle is another one of the horses capable of competing on the amateur level here in the AQHA and then stepping up to show in the Open as well. He and Patrick demonstrate that with a strong run that earns them a 2:20 from the judges to launch them past Miriam Stilo, Casey Hinton, and Sean Flarida, and put them in a tie for second with Jordan Larson and Ark Gonna Be a Big Star. The AQHA rules use the score of a predetermined judge as a tiebreaker in this case. That goes to Jordan Larson and Ark Gonna Be a Big Star, owned by HDC Quarter Horses, who take home the Reserve Championship and the Silver Globe. The bronze goes to Patrick Flaherty and Vicky Santos' Whiz Boom Wrangle. The 2017 AQHA Senior Rating World Champions are Chago Boy Shaw and Wimpy's Little Knight, owned by Courtney Battison. Chago tells us he will be trying to earn a place on the Brazilian team at the World Equestrian Games later this year, but probably on another horse.
I'm working on Iceman, SG Frozen Enterprise. We got him now at the ranch, and I've been riding him. He's very fun. So if I do make it, that's probably what I'm going to show. But Knight right here, it will be for sure my second call.
For more information on the 2018 World Equestrian Games, go to horseofthewest.tv. Coming up in the weeks ahead on Horse of the West, NRCHA's World's Greatest Horseman, the Great Western Reining Horse Association Best Little Derby in the West, the National Reining Breeders' Classic, and more. See you soon.